thought it would be helpful for you to see how I build a make.com scenario end to end. So the first thing I do is I decide what the objective is going to be. So for this one, the objective is going to be assigning tasks to my team. And the way that I do that is in my Notion task setup. So that's my objective. And I always try and keep that in mind as I start to build these, because if not, you can get a little bit too crazy with them. So what I want to do is forward this email to make.com and then have it create a Notion entry. So I've opened up make.com, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name this scenario, and I'm going to call it tasks for Kat. That is my assistant. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called a web hook, and I'm going to have it do an email hook. So if I do web hook, and then I can do a custom mail hook right here. And so I'm going to add one, and I'm going to call it Notion tasks for Kat. That way I have several of them and I'll know which one it is. I can replicate this for different purposes also. So I'm going to hit save. And then what it does is it gives me an email address. I'm going to copy that address to the clipboard. Okay, so the next thing is, normally I would just create a database item, but I have a little challenge in here from the database. I want to assign it to Catherine. And when I do that, it's asking not for something that I don't know what they're asking for yet. They're asking for down here what's called a UUID. Where's assignee? Assignee. Right here. So right here, the only thing I have here is me as an assignee, and obviously I don't want that. So what I need to find out is what's called a UUID to put into the assignee field right here. And this is how I'm going to try and discover what that is, right? So I'm going to unlink that. So what I've done is I've done a Notion search objects connection here, and it's going to search database items, and then I'm going to click on search, and I want it to search it from my tasks database. So I'm going to query it, and then it's going to go search and find the database in Notion named tasks. And so when it grabs it, I only have one database named tasks. If I had multiples, this might be a little more problematic, but it's not. And then the filter I want is going to be, I'm going to put the, actually, I'm not going to filter anything. I'm just going to save it. And then I'm going to run this module. And then what it's going to do is it's going to grab the last 10 tasks that I've done, and it's going to give me an output. And it's doing this through the API so I can see all the behind the scenes stuff that it's doing. So here's where I want to download that output bundle. And what I'm looking for is a task assigned. Oh, pull UUID. Okay, so I'm looking for, I named this task pull UUID. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. This is the name of it. And I'm going to look for the assignee UUID here. Parent, wait, people. There it is. Okay, so the assignee user ID is right here. Now, this is sort of complicated, but now this means that I can go ahead and grab that user ID, and then I can close up shop on all of this stuff. I'm going to unlink that here, move that up there, and then I'm going to put that Notion database. Okay, so remember what my objective was. It was when I send an email to the email address from this webhook, I want it to create a Notion task database item. And so I've got in here, here's the subject of this webhook. And then down here in the assignee field, I'm going to map it, and I'm going to put in the UUID of the assignee, right? And then I could fill in, dates and completions and all the stuff that I want completed there. I don't want it labeled here. So all of this is, I just want to get a basic task in there so that I can grab it. So then I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to click on run once because I want it to watch it, test it. And then I'm going to go back over to my email and I'm going to forward this email to that email address that make.com gave me in the webhook. And then I can just hit send. Now, if I go back over to make.com, I can wait and watch it, and it should catch that custom mail hook in just a second and then create a Notion database item. And it's done. So now I should be able to go back over to Notion, and here is the email, the task, and you can see that it's assigned to Catherine. So in Notion now, I have this so that Catherine will get an email when it actually assigns to her. So I don't have to send her an email, but I could come back over here and I could create a little, reminder of it. The other thing I could do to make this even more sort of useful is I can create in here, I could put in a ChatGPT module. So I could put in a completion prompt here, and I can decide which model I want to use. I have GPT-5 now, so I could use that. And I could say, I'm going to do system, and I'm going to say, read this email and create and prepare it task in Notion. Look for any due dates and summarize the email for a description. Output your format. And then I can hit show advanced settings. And then down here, my response format should be a JSON object, and you should parse it. The reason why is so that in the next bit, you're able to use it, right? And then you can hook this up here. And then if I run it and I go back over to my email, and let me just go in and forward this. I'm going to put my email address back in. And in the text right here, I'm going to say due on Friday. And then I can take my signature out, and then I can forward this. And then it's going to run this. Okay, so now that I've run it, I actually need to go back and just quickly update the Notion link there so that it can grab the new possibilities that are now available by way of chat. So if I open this up and I go back in, I should have a due date field, and I should now have a due date that's available to me. So I can go into due, and under result here, I should have a due date. And then under the description, I should have the description. And then I can hit save. So this email, read this email, and prepare it. So I need to actually, I forgot to tell it, this is the email. I forgot to give it the email. How fun. There's the text. Let me put in the subject line and text. And then hit save. Okay, so now I'm going to save it down here. And now if I click run once and I go back over to my email, and let's say that I want to forward this email. And I'm going to do the make.com. I'm going to say due Friday. Be sure and cancel this subscription in my Apple account. All right, so now I have given it a little bit of context and just given it a quick summary. Now, if I go back over, it's going to catch the hook. It's going to go through ChatGPT. It's going to parse out the email, figure out what it needs done, and then it's going to create a Notion task in a database task in Notion. Say that 10 times fast. All right, so now it's done it. So now if I go back over to tasks, here is the task. So it's a to-do and it's due Friday. Here's the description. Now, if you look in the rest of it, it is attached. It's assigned to Catherine and it's due this Friday, which this Friday is August 22nd. So now all I need to do is go into here, and anytime I want to send an email, assign something to Kat, I can go in and send an email to that address. Now, what I might do in Gmail, which is the smartest place to do it, is create a contact with it and call Kat's Tasks. And so when I send a task, I can just send it to Kat's Tasks instead of trying to remember that email address or looking it up or whatever. So I hope that's helpful.